Today, follow a real British conversation and learn what it means to lug something, or if it costs a fair whack. These are the kinds of real British phrases that native speakers use every single day. And this lesson is packed with the authentic vocabulary that will help you understand and join in natural British conversations with confidence. First, listen to a realistic phone conversation. Then, I'll break down all the tricky vocabulary and expressions you heard. And finally, you'll get the chance to practice speaking these phrases yourself. Hi, I'm Steve. Let's do this.
Hello?
Hi there. I'm ringing about the coffee table you've got for sale. I think you work with my brother, Jack.
Oh, right. Jack mentioned you might give me a tinkle. Yes, the coffee table's still available if you're interested.
Brilliant. He said it was in decent nick, but I wanted to have a proper chat about it before I trek over. What sort of state is it in then?
Well, it's not brand new, obviously, but it's actually in pretty good condition. There's a tiny scratch on one corner where I caught it with the Hoover ages ago, but you'd hardly notice it. The wood's still got a lovely finish on it.
Right. And what's it made of? Jack wasn't entirely sure.
It's solid oak. Quite a chunky piece, actually. Really well built. None of that flat pack nonsense. I got it from a proper furniture shop about 3 years back. Cost me a fair whack at the time.
Sounds promising. What's the dimensions roughly? I need to make sure it'll fit without making the room look cramped.
Let me just grab my tape measure. Right, it's about 4 feet long, maybe 2.5 feet wide, and the usual coffee table height, so about 16 inches or so. It's got a lower shelf as well, for magazines and whatnot.
That should work perfectly actually. And you're after 60 quid for it, is that right?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I know I could probably get a bit more online, but I can't be doing with all the hustle of posting photos and dealing with time wasters.
Fair enough, that sounds reasonable. Now the practical side of things. Whereabouts are you exactly?
I'm over in Woodley, just up the ring road. Do you know the Morrisons there? I'm in the flats just behind it, Maple Court.
The only supermarket I know in that neck of the woods is Tesco's.
It's the same one. It changed to a Morrison's last year.
Oh, in that case I know where you mean. Is parking all right at your place?
Not too bad, especially during the day. There's visitor spaces right outside the main entrance. I'm on the 4th floor, but don't worry, there's a decent lift, so you won't have to lug it down the stairs.
Thank goodness for that. My back's not what it used to be. Will you be able to give me a lift getting it to my car?
Absolutely, no worries at all. It's not massively heavy, but it's a bit awkward to carry on your own. Between the two of us, it should be a doddle.
Perfect. When would suit you then? I'm fairly flexible this week.
How about Thursday afternoon? I work from home that day, so any time after about 2 would be good for me.
Thursday works well actually. Shall we say 2:30? That gives me time to nip to the bank on the drive over. I take it you want paying in Reddies.
Lovely. 2:30 it is. Just to double check, you've got my address, haven't you? It's flat 47, Maple Court.
Flat 47, got it.
I'll put my mobile number in a text to you after we hang up, just in case you get lost or anything.
Brilliant, that's very helpful. Right then, I'll see you Thursday at 2:30. Looking forward to having a proper look at this table.
Excellent. See you then, Steve, and give my regards to Jack when you next see him.
Will do. Cheers then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Before we start, you should know there is a full guide to this lesson that includes all the vocabulary that we're going to cover, the complete conversation, and a quiz to test your understanding. If you've already subscribed to my channel, you'll find it in your inbox. But if you're new here, just click the link in the description to get your totally free copy. First, you heard me say, I'm ringing about the coffee table you've got for sale. This just means I'm calling or phoning about something. In British English, we often say ring instead of call when we're talking about using the phone. For example,
Steve, I need to ring my mum later.
excuse me, did anyone ring while I was out?
No, sorry, they didn't.
I mentioned that Jack said the table was in decent nick. He said it was in decent nick. This means it's in good condition or good shape. We use nick to talk about the state or condition of something. You could say, my car's in terrible nick if it's falling apart. Or, this old phone is still in pretty good nick if it works well. I also said I wanted to chat before I trek over. But I wanted to have a proper chat about it before I trek over. This is a great way of saying travel to or go to, but it suggests the journey might be a bit long or require some effort. We often use it when we don't really fancy making the trip at all. For instance,
I don't really fancy trekking all the way to the shops.
I asked, what sort of state is it in then? This is another way of asking about the condition of something. State here just means condition, and we use this phrase when we want to know if something is damaged, worn out, or still good. You might ask,
What sort of state was the kitchen in after the party?
or
The roads are in a terrible state.
the seller mentioned catching the table with the Hoover.
There's a tiny scratch on one corner where I caught it with the Hoover ages ago.
This is the British word for vacuum cleaner. It comes from the Hoover company, but we use it for any vacuum cleaner, no matter what the brand is. You'd say, I need to Hoover the carpet. Or where did you put the Hoover, even if it's a Dyson or another make. The seller described it as a chunky piece. This means it's thick, solid and substantial. We use chunky to describe furniture, jewellery, or even food that's thick. For example,
I really love chunky chips.
the seller was pleased it wasn't flat pack nonsense. Flat pack refers to furniture that comes in pieces and you have to assemble it yourself, like you get from IKEA. Many British people find flat pack furniture frustrating to put together, so calling it nonsense shows the seller preferred proper ready-made furniture that you bought from a proper furniture shop. She said,
Cost me a fair whack at the time.
a fair whack means quite a lot of money. It's a casual way of saying something was expensive without saying exactly how much it was. You could say,
This holiday cost a fair whack.
next you heard me ask about the dimensions. What are the dimensions roughly? And dimensions just means the measurements or the size of something. Interestingly, in the UK, we use a mix of inches and feet and centimetres and metres In other words, imperial measurements, the old-fashioned ones, or the metric ones, the newer ones. For furniture, we often use feet and inches, but for shorter measurements, we might use centimetres. We buy petrol in litres, but measure distances in miles. It can be really confusing, even for us. The seller said,
"But I can't be doing with all the hustle of posting photos and dealing with time wasters."
These are people who contact you about something you're selling, but they're not serious buyers. They might ask lots of questions, arrange to view something, then not turn up. Every time I've sold a house, I've suffered with time wasters. I replied, "Fair enough, that sounds reasonable." And this is a polite way of saying the price is fair and acceptable. We use reasonable when something seems sensible and not excessive. For example,
"This restaurant's prices are reasonable."
I asked, "Whereabouts are you exactly?" Whereabouts means roughly where or in which direction. It's more casual than asking for a complete address straight away. I might ask you, "Whereabouts do you live?" or "Whereabouts did you park the car?" There was a little bit of confusion about Morrison's and Tesco.
"Do you know the Morrisons there? I'm in the flats just behind it, Maple Court."
The only supermarket I know in that neck of the woods is Tesco's. These are both major British supermarket chains. Morrison's and Tesco compete with each other, along with the other big supermarkets like Asda and Sainsbury's. Sometimes these shops change hands or rebrand, which can confuse locals who remember what used to be there. The seller assured me,
"I'm on the 4th floor, but don't worry, there's a decent lift, so you won't have to lug it down the stairs."
thank goodness for that I wouldn't have to lug it down the stairs. And to lug something means to drag or carry something heavy, something that takes a lot of effort. It suggests the object is awkward, difficult to move. You might say,
"I had to loop this bag up the stairs."
I asked, "Will you be able to give me a lift getting it to my car?" And this means to help someone, usually with a physical task. It's really very common in British English. The seller said it would be a doddle. This means it will be easy, no problem at all. It's a lovely British word that makes tasks sound simple and stress-free. For instance, my laptop recently broke, and everyone said installing new software would be a doddle. It wasn't. I mentioned I was. When would suit you then? I'm fairly flexible this week. This means I have quite a lot of free time and can arrange my schedule easily. We often use fairly to mean quite or reasonably. You might say, "I'm fairly busy tomorrow," or "the weather's been fairly good recently." I said I needed to nip to the bank, and to nip somewhere means to go quickly, usually for a short visit. It has the feeling that you'll be brief. For example,
"I'm just nipping to the shops."
or after I finish this video, I'm going to nip to the loo. I asked if the seller wanted paying in Reddies. I take it you want paying in Reddies. And this is a slang expression for cash, paper money. You might hear,
"I prefer Reddies to cards."
Finally, the seller asked me to give my regards to my brother Jack. This is a polite way of asking someone to pass on greetings to a mutual friend. It's quite formal, but it's nice and friendly too. If you're wondering why I've suddenly got changed, it's because I forgot to record this part, and it's perhaps the most important part of the whole video. It's your turn to improve your speaking skills by taking part in that conversation yourself. Your words will appear on the screen as you need them, and for the best results, speak out loud. Hi there. I'm ringing about the coffee table you've got for sale. I think you work with my brother, Jack. Brilliant. He said it was in decent nick, but I wanted to have a proper chat about it before I trek over. What sort of state is it in then? Right. And what's it made of? Jack wasn't entirely sure. Sounds promising. What's the dimensions roughly? I need to make sure it'll fit without making the room look cramped. That should work perfectly actually. And you're after 60 quid for it, is that right? Fair enough, that sounds reasonable. Now the practical side of things. Whereabouts are you exactly? The only supermarket I know in that neck of the woods is Tesco's. Oh, in that case, I know where you mean. Is parking alright at your place? Thank goodness for that. My back's not what it used to be. Will you be able to give me a lift getting it to my car? Perfect. When would suit you then? I'm fairly flexible this week. Thursday works well actually. Shall we say 2:30? That gives me time to nip to the bank on the drive over. I take it you want paying in Reddies. Flat 47, got it. Brilliant, that's very helpful. Right then, I'll see you Thursday at 2:30. Looking forward to having a proper look at this table. Will do. Cheers then. Bye for now. You've just heard that another word for cash is Reddies, and you don't need any of it at all to improve your English. You just need to click here, and I'll see you over there.